Hello and welcome to yet another episode of the Virtuous Woman Show. My name is Sheila Juma and I'm so excited and delighted to be hosting you this very wonderful Sunday evening. We hope you've had a great Sunday and a great week from wherever you're watching us from. Thank you so much for tuning in. If it's your first time watching us, this is the show that seeks to inspire and educate women across Kenya. And so we are so happy to be hosting you this evening. If you are yet to follow us on our social media platforms, we are the Virtuous Woman Show across all platforms. That's Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, even YouTube. You can go ahead and subscribe to our YouTube channel. There's a bunch of content right there for you. I'm sure you're going to get blessed by the content that we have put out there for you. We'd love to hear from you. If there's a topic that you'd like for us to tackle, if there's a suggestion you have for us, please go ahead and reach out to us on any of our platforms. We'll be happy to hear from you and to hear the impact that we are making on your lives. Thank you so much once again for tuning in. We have a very interesting topic for you. We are talking about building mentally healthy relationships, and so this cuts across the board. And so you want to sit back, relax, maybe grab a notebook, because we have a very interesting lady with us on set who's going to educate us and talk to us on this particular topic. So karibu sana.
Asante.
Thank you so much. Her name, I've forgotten to say, is Zora. Beautiful name. But you can go ahead and introduce yourself. Okay. That's your camera right there.
Okay. So my name is Zora Nyangara Mumbi, famously known as Zippy. Actually, that's my preferred name. I am a practicing psychologist, and I'm also the executive director and founder of an organization called Haven of Dreams, where we talk about issues of mental health and mostly talking about intergenerational traumas.
Beautiful. Yeah. You've been a psychologist for how long?
Well, I did my higher diploma in 2012, so started practicing, but then also took a break to raise my kids. I have two kids, 10 years and 9 years. Okay. Yes, but then I've also been practicing for the past 5 years or so.
Wow, you don't look like someone who has such old kids. You look maybe 5 years.
God.
God has kept you very, very well.
Sure.
Wow, amazing. And so psychology is your field of passion?
Yes, it is. Yeah. Yes, it is. If I was asked to choose again what I want to be, I think I'll still choose psychology and just working with the community. Yeah. And for me, I think I had already figured out that I wanted to work with the community when I was in high school. Okay. Because I was the head girl. I got leadership roles from Form 1. Then in Form 3, I was elected as the head girl, and so at that point people would come to me with issues. Oh, I'm going through this, I've started abusing drugs, our home situation is like this and that. So I found my passion at that point. And then we also had a guidance and counseling teacher. She's late, but she was called Mrs. Letoya. She was really amazing. You would go to her office, talk about the issues that you're going through. And she was a real inspiration to my career and just deciding I'm going to choose psychology. So when other people were saying I want to become a neurosurgeon, a doctor and a pilot, I couldn't relate at that age. Yes. But at a younger age, I wanted to become everything. Yeah. I'd read Think Big.
Didn't we all?
I mean, so you want just to become all that.
You know, it's very fascinating to me to find someone who knows what to say in situations, in certain situations, because it's not the easiest thing that comes, to people. Like if someone came to me, sometimes I'm just a bit stumped on what to tell them, but to have someone who knows what to say, has experience in that field, it's really intriguing to me. And so thank you for coming today.
You're welcome.
So today, like I said, we're talking about building mentally healthy relationships. And this cuts abroad to very many relationships. We're not just talking about boy-girl, we're talking about friendships, we're talking about in-laws, different kinds of relationships. And so feel free to answer these questions across the board in terms of relationships. So I think the first question I would ask you is, what's the importance of good mental health when navigating relationships?
I think the first thing is, one, we have been created as relational beings. no man is an island. I mean, if you're just by yourself, you just go to an island or somewhere and stay by yourself. But now, to answer your question, the first thing is communication.
Okay.
When you are in your right mental health space, it's easy for you to communicate because you're able to get in touch with your feelings. You're able to get in touch with your emotions and you know how to communicate.
Okay.
So it's easy for you when you're mentally okay to communicate the right way. It's not just about busting up. It's not about being correct, but it's about communicating the right way. The other aspect also is in terms of resilience. One of the things that we need to realize, it's whether it's a friendship, whether it's a daughter-mother relationship, whether it's an intimate relationship, it's not a walk in the park. It's not a straight line thing. We don't navigate and say we're going to get from point A to point B just perfectly. So when you are mentally okay, you get the resilience to go through the different phases of relationship, because you know that relationships are going to come with its own share of issues. I mean, right now we are experiencing issues from all corners, but then now when you're mentally okay, you know that this is just a phase, so you will know this is what I need to do to deal with specific phases. This is how I need to communicate. This is how I need to navigate the different issues, especially right now, because you'll have financial issues, you'll have career advancement issues. So you are at a better place to just be resilient. But then, of course, when you're mentally okay, you are also self-aware.
I was going to tackle that next. I was going to ask you the importance of self-awareness in a person's mental health.
So when you are self-aware, number one, you are able, you know your strengths, you know your weaknesses or areas of growth, as we call them. You know also, you have the ability to set boundaries. And so with setting boundaries also helps you to become mentally okay. Because again, remember, we also come from different backgrounds and different spaces in our lives. And we have been raised, we have different childhood experiences. So when you're also able to understand what happened to you as a child, you become self-aware to also understand, why is it that I attract this kind of friendships? Why is it that I attract this kind of relationships? And then when you become self-aware, you are also able to individuate. Individuation is the space where you become an individual outside the external factors. You're able to identify your values, you're able to identify the things that work for you and actually who you are. So that's the process of also becoming self-aware, because again, as much as we are relational and we come from communities, it also gets to a point where now you have to be an individual. And also, it's also important when you become self-aware and individuated, because now it will also help you when it comes to relationship to understand this is the space in the relationship that I give, but then also this is my space as a person, and also helping you create the balance to understand there's a space that there's things that I need to work on as a person. There is my part as a person. That's where now as an individual, you can even just do a self-care activity and you will not feel guilty because you're in a relationship. There's also the aspect of you growing and you becoming the person that you need to become as much as you're in a relationship. Respecting that, yes, there's the issue of now in the interdependence in a relationship, but then there's also the aspect of interconnectedness in a relationship.
Wow. Yeah. I think self-awareness is one of the most important traits any human being should have, because there's this thing that, you know, you don't know you have bad breath until someone tells you. But if you knew you had it, you'd be able to sort the issue fast. I think it's the same when it comes to mental health awareness, self-awareness, because you can't deal with an issue that you don't know exists.
And it's a journey. Sometimes you think or you imagine, I've known everything, I am at a good place.
Yeah.
But then you realize that self-awareness is a journey, because there are days you will have to go back to your childhood experiences to understand why you're behaving the way you are in your adulthood.
Yeah.
There are days that also self-awareness is also getting feedback from people, because there are things that I do not know about myself, but someone else can give me feedback, and then I'm able to work on myself. Remember, when it comes to self-awareness, you're not seeking perfection. You are seeking progress.
Wow. Yeah. Okay. I like that. Not perfection, but progress.
We can't be perfect.
I love it. I love it. Now, you mentioned earlier communication, and I think this is one of the major challenges when it comes to relationships across the board, is when people don't know how to communicate. So how can I ensure that I'm a good communicator in my relationship?
I think the first thing you have to do is be honest with your feelings. And again, being honest with our feelings, most of us are actually not honest with our feelings, especially feelings of hurt. Why? I'll go back to some experiences in our childhood. When you would cry as a child, your parent would tell you, "Mbona unalia? Unalia kama mtoto." And you're a child. I'm supposed to cry. Kwani umeumia? You know, those kind of things. So with that, we have really not being able to talk about our feelings. We actually just push them away and not talk about them. But then it's important that you talk about your feelings and be honest about them. The other thing is initiate the conversation. Because of our upbringing, there are people that will hurt us and they will not realize that they have hurt us or said words that have actually hurt us, because they are familiar with those things. They are familiar with those words. So initiate the conversations when you're feeling hurt, or when you need to have someone just pick your mind. It's we again say that when you're in a relationship or with someone, they need to know us, they need to understand us. Sometimes they will not do that, and it will be frustrating when you expect that they will do that. So initiate those conversations about your feelings, but then also initiate them at the right time.
It's important, especially pale kwa marriage.
Initiate them at the right time. Isikwe nao hapo asubuhi, nilikwambia. And then for us as women, you know the way we keep records. In 1990, we're in 2024. In 1990, in September, you had a green shirt. You hurt me. And then the guy is like, I don't even remember. Have I ever owned a green shirt, you know? But then initiate those conversations at the right time. And when it comes to communication, remember, you're not, if it is in terms of conflict, you're not fighting against the other person. You're fighting against the issue, the problem. So the idea is to talk about the problem, talk about the issue. And then also, when you're talking and communicating, most of the times we talk like, you hurt me. You do this and you hurt me when you do this. Change the conversation to, I feel hurt when you shout at me. So that they understand their action has a consequence on you. And it's also going to be easy, so that the person also understands. So it's not me being the problem, but it's what I am doing and the action being an issue. And of course, again, self-awareness will help you in communication. Because depending on where you come from, depending on how you communicate, you'll be able to understand that probably I need to change, to work on my communication. Because if someone tells you that you keep on shouting, or you address me in shout, and you're not a kissy, you know, kissy will shout naturally, you know, but then they give you feedback, but then you also get to understand the person, and also the feedback and self-awareness will help you. And sometimes when communication between two people is not really working, I would also say seek professional help.
We're going to take a short break. We'll be right back after this break. Please don't go anywhere. We'll be right back with this conversation.